Yo, what is up, guys? Delboy here. So, Callum Smith defeats John Ryder by a questionable, unanimous decision to retain his WBA and Ring Magazine Super Middleweight titles. This fight was an intriguing fight throughout and an entertaining fight throughout. However, I felt the wrong man got his hand raised. I personally felt John Ryder won this fight, to be honest. I felt he did enough to pull off the upset and become the new champion, but once again, questionable judging in the sport of boxing. Almost like it's a theme in the sport, right? But yeah, bad scorecards in my opinion, and I certainly feel really, really bad for John Ryder. He fought his heart out, and like I've said, I felt he did enough. I mean, to win this fight, obviously Callum Smith would have needed to win 7 rounds. There was no knockdowns or anything like that. So Smith would have needed 7 rounds to win this fight. And to give Callum Smith 7 rounds, I feel you would have to be very generous. And to only give John Ryder 5 rounds or less, then you would be being very harsh. So yeah, I do feel the wrong man got his hand raised. But, onto the fight itself. The fight itself was very entertaining throughout, in my opinion. First couple of rounds, it was a bit of a boxing match. John Ryder, obviously the much shorter man. Callum Smith, 6'3". John Ryder, 5'9", with a compact style. In the early rounds, it was quite close. I felt Ryder nicked the first couple of rounds. He was keeping nice and low, compact style, and he was jabbing upwards against the taller man, Callum Smith. He was landing some nice up jabs through the middle, and some nice flurries were being landed on the inside. Callum Smith was looking for single shots, and he did land some good body shots, but he was missing quite regularly with his jab against the much shorter guy. John Ryder in this fight did a good job of taking Callum Smith's jab away. And obviously Callum Smith is the much taller, longer man, but arguably in this fight, John Ryder's jab was better. The 5'9" John Ryder arguably won the battle of the jabs. Well, he certainly won the battle of the jabs in large portions of this fight at very least. John Ryder's jab throughout this fight was very effective. Coming in from a low angle and jabbing upwards. Callum Smith had a really hard time reading that shot and blocking it. He never really took John Ryder's jab away from him, and that was one of John Ryder's best weapons throughout this fight. So the first 2 rounds were kind of, feel-out rounds. Both guys were kind of seeing what each other had, and after the second round, I felt the fight really kind of started to heat up. Round after round, the action was getting a bit more intense. Both guys were having success, but a lot of Callum Smith's success, again, I go back to it, it was single shots. And he was landing some good shots, don't get it twisted. He was landing some nice left hooks to the body and uppercuts to the body as well. And also a couple of good left hooks here and there to the head. And, 1 or 2 straight right hands down the middle. But, was Callum Smith doing enough work to offset the sheer volume and punch flurries of John Ryder? There were times on the ropes where John Ryder would have Callum Smith penned against them, and John Ryder was working in flurries, and a lot of shots were landing, especially to the body. John Ryder was having a lot of success to the body, hooks around the sides, uppercuts through the middle, and, chopping overhand rights as well to the head. Ryder against the ropes was doing some really good work, and he was working Callum Smith. So for me, in numerous rounds, John Ryder won the battle of punch volume, and he won the battle of the jab. So for me, in numerous rounds, John Ryder was actually the ring general. If you looked at both guys in the ring, whose fight was being fought? John Ryder's fight, the inside battle, the phone booth type fight, or Callum Smith's fight, the more distance game, whose fight was being fought? John Ryder's. He was the guy who was dictating where this fight went, and he was the guy who made his opponents uncomfortable. John Ryder, throughout this fight, always displayed good body language. He was confident throughout, he was keeping his shape, and he looked like the more comfortable man, whereas Callum Smith looked uncomfortable in spots, because he was being worked over on the inside, he was being outlanded, and he suffered some damage to the face. Now, that was also due to some head clashes, that has to be said, but he was also getting hit with genuine clean shots, and plenty of them. You know? And I'm not making out like Callum Smith didn't have success in this fight. He certainly won a few rounds. I would say 4-5 rounds at max Callum Smith won. I can't really see you scoring any more than that for him, to be honest. There were a couple of rounds where John Ryder kind of stepped off the gas and Callum Smith was doing the better work, again landing good single shots, you know, winning the rounds. So it's not like Callum Smith didn't have success. He did, and he actually semi-buzzed John Ryder in one round. Not badly, but he kind of semi-buzzed him. So don't get it twisted. Callum Smith did have his moments, but he was extremely fortunate to get this decision. And what punctuated this for me, you know, was the ending of this fight. John Ryder came on really strong. It wasn't the champion here who rallied to defend his belt. No, it was the underdog challenger, John Ryder, who really finished the championship round strong. He clearly won 11 and 12. Callum Smith was gassing for dear life. In round 11, you know, Callum Smith looked hurt towards the end of a round. Got caught with a series of shots. He was losing his shape badly. You know, that's a sign of, you know, you losing stamina and you succumbing to punishment. He was shipping a lot of shots. And round 11, like I said, Callum Smith started to lose his shape. And round 12, once again, John Ryder, the busier man who landed for more shots and who was more active. Yo guys, John Ryder won this fight. I'm sorry. I'm absolutely gutted for John Ryder. You know, I went into this fight and didn't really give him a shot, I've got to say. But I felt he fought a tremendous fight. I'm not the biggest fan of Tony Sims, but, yo, his man went in there with a great game plan and he executed it. But unfortunately, he's not had his night, his crowning moment, and that is really, really sad. Because John Ryder, he's been a guy I've always liked. I felt this was a bad style matchup for John Ryder. I just didn't think he could overcome the size, but he did. And he won this fight, man. But like I was saying, John Ryder has been so unlucky in this sport. You know, he won this fight against Callum Smith. He clearly beat Jack Arnfield and got robbed in that fight. He clearly beat Rocky Fielding, got robbed in that fight. Even the Billy Joe Saunders fight, that was extremely close. And if you scored that to Ryder, I wouldn't call you crazy. John Ryder has been extremely unlucky with decisions, and I really, really feel for him. I really do. I felt he boxed a tremendous fight. It was thoroughly entertaining. His jab was a thing of beauty. How he was subtly slipping Callum Smith's jab, coming back with his own, quickly closing distance to get on the inside. It was a thing of beauty. John Ryder's performance was genuine world class at times. And he was working Smith over. He won this fight. I don't give a damn what anybody says. He won this fight. It is what it is. And like I said, I really feel bad for John Ryder. If Team Smith and Matchroom had anything about them, they would run this one back. Because John Ryder deserves a rematch. As far as I'm concerned, he bust his bollocks to get this opportunity, winning 4 straight, beating a couple of unbeaten guys. You know, having gone through the BS politics of boxing in the past, he's worked extremely hard to get this moment, and this gets done to him. Absolutely disgraceful. John Ryder deserves a rematch, and if Team Smith and Matchroom don't put this right, then shame on them. Absolute disgrace. Callum Smith needs to forget about Canelo Alvarez and acting like he's a big shot. He doesn't deserve Canelo. He's got John Ryder problems, bruv. Sort this out, make a rematch, put it right. Absolute joke of a decision, as far as I'm concerned. I'm getting a bit worked up over it, but I truly believe a rematch needs to happen. And like I said, if it doesn't, I would be extremely disappointed. Share your thoughts below. How did you feel about this fight? Did you feel John Ryder also won? Am I being over the top? Or do you guys feel the same way? Do you feel John Ryder got extremely harshly treated in this fight? Share your thoughts below. I'm intrigued to hear your comments. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Didn't want to rant too much, but I just feel really bad for John Ryder, you know. But it's boxing. These things keep on happening. We keep on complaining, but we'll always come back and watch the sport. So, you know, maybe that says something about us as well. But anyway, Share your thoughts below. Peace.